Oh my God, she's got me doing it. She's got me dancing. What am I thinking? Hey, welcome. I'm Jeff Harrison, and this is the Twisted, Bent, and Exhausted Entrepreneur Podcast.
Ah,
Maybe I've gone to the dark side.
sounds like it. Don't dance like me. I have no rhythm. I'm just trying to figure out
Uh,
something to do. I try to figure something out.
well, we're having. By the time you're watching this, we've had solar installed in our home, but it's been a long process because the community we live in, it takes forever. It takes like 6 to 8 months, and so we finally got some information about our solar. It's going to be starting today. For us is Wednesday, but it's going to start on Monday. They're going to start installing it. And I found this video. If you know Seinfeld and you know Elaine and her ability to dance, it was really kind of freaky. But it's got Jerry and Elaine and George. They're all dancing and they're saying "Yay!" So that's what it reminded me of.
Are,
And I
are you
sent
going to
that.
show it? Oh.
No, I sent it to the installer yesterday, and he got a laugh out of it. So anyway, hey, welcome to today's podcast. If you missed it, this is part two of a two-part series on the 10 things small business owners learn the hard way. And if you miss that, I just want to point out some of the things you missed on the last one real quickly. First of all, you're not selling your service as a product, or you're not just selling a service or product, you're building a business. Cash flow is king. Busy does not equal success. Not every customer is a good fit. That's sometimes a hard one to swallow. Not every daily vitamin is good for you, so be careful about that. And marketing is not optional. So if you missed any of those things, you're saying, oh my gosh, I can't believe I missed that. Let me go back, and I think it's episode 29. This is
Oh
number
my gosh.
30. This is number 30.
Yay, 30,
Yeah,
3,
so
0.
as I say, this is about the 10 things small business owners learn the hard way. And Leslie, I didn't think it was going to take that long to really go through it, but we spent an hour talking about that, and not a lot of fluff, but really diving into it. And really, it's packed with it's like a master class.
Yep.
The things you shared were just amazing, and I was able to put a little fluff on the top. So really go back and take a look at that. Let's talk about what we're going to talk about today. We were just talking about that with you off air. You
Right.
can't do it all, Leslie. You can't do it all. What the heck does that mean?
Well, I wrote a newsletter, God, 15 some years ago, probably, I don't know, a long time ago, about all the hats you have to wear as a small business owner. And you cannot, in the balancing act, you have to, those plates that you spin. Remember the old days? Are you old enough for that? Where they would put plates on
I've got a whole stack of them right over here. Yeah.
a bunch of plates on poles and get them all going at the same time. That's kind of how a business owner's life goes, right? We got all these hats on. We're keeping all the plates spinning. We're trying to get everything done. And we got to do marketing and sales and automation and social media and service our customers and come up with new ideas and all this stuff we have to do, right? And you can't do it all. It's impossible. I cannot do it all. We just decided during the break that I cannot do marketing anymore. I have to get somebody to do it for me. I wonder who that'll be. Oh, it'll be Jeff, because he is the digital marketing guru, especially with this content accelerator. I love that thing. I would market that for you all day long if I liked marketing, but I do not. So,
If I could turn that into a donut machine, oh my God, I'd be like huge. But
well, you
yeah,
would if
that's
you ate all those donuts, but okay.
I'll eat the donut holes.
That,
So
ba, 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 ba,
yeah,
ba.
you know,
Okay.
I think about, okay, how do we as business owners? I say we because we just said, hey, you were guilty of it. I know I've been guilty of it. We try to do it ourselves. Is it this is Let me just share some things that for me personally that has happened that caused me not to hire somebody. Like, I remember when I was struggling to hire my first virtual assistant, and it came down to the part where I'm like, well, I'm not sure I'm going to have enough for her to do. And
Oh,
so
everybody thinks that, yeah.
and so I didn't hire her until it was like, I've got so much to do. I don't know if I can afford her. And
Yeah.
it was really wild. And this ties right back into our off-air conversation, is because that's what she does and she loves to do. What I thought was like 40 hours worth of work was like 10 hours. And she said, what else do you have? And I'm like, oh my God, I don't have enough for her. But it
My
was
office
like,
manager is the same way.
But is that really one of those things we think, okay, first of all, I don't have enough to really outsource that or bring that person aboard,
Well,
and that's what holds us
that's
back?
part of it. That's part of it. And it's also, we think that, oh my God, I have to teach somebody. And we talked about that in the last segment, right? I have to teach them how to do this. And then, I don't have time to teach them how to do it, but you don't have time not to teach them how to do it. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
really and truly. And then it's also, so it's I don't have time. And then it's also, can I afford them? Right. That's the other thing, because especially if you're billing, well, it doesn't matter how you're billing by hour, billing by widget, it doesn't matter. You start to mentally think of every purchase or every cost in terms of how many widgets do I have to sell? How many hours do I have to sell? And that's a self defeating exercise, because you truly can't afford not to do this. You have to outsource, delegate, hire help, one way or another. In particular, it's great for things you hate to do. I've learned that the hard way. It's really great for that. We talked many times about me and bookkeeping. I can do it. I'm good at it. I just hate it, right? And so I have somebody who manages all my books, and now we've automated most of our billing practices, so we don't really have a lot of time expended in the billing piece of this. Can you hear that?
I
Sorry.
was wondering, now are you at the raceway today? It sounds like it's
Yeah.
a racetrack. I thought maybe that was a
No,
motocross up there.
it's the landscapers.
Ah,
I made an arrangement for them not to be here between 10 and 12, and we've run over. Now we're at 12:30, and so now they're here. So
okay. We'll just work
hopefully it
through
will.
it.
Yeah, please.
We'll work through
Um,
it.
I could pull the microphone closer to me if that helps, so that you don't hear quite as much. I don't know if that
Oh
helped or
yeah, I
not.
don't hear. Yeah, that helped tremendously.
Yeah, so I'll just do that. So, so where was I going with that? I was going with the don't have enough time, don't have enough money, and I have to teach. Or what was the first one you said? Do I have enough time? Do I have enough for
Yeah,
them to do?
yeah.
And honestly, you're going to have to get over that. I mean, I'm not a good coddler, so I'm just going to say it straight up. Suck it up and get help, because you cannot be all things to all people. Just like you can't, not every client is your client. You cannot be all things, do all things well. Jack of all trades, master of none. You know that old saying.
Yep.
So if you decide what you like to do. I mean, this is your business, right? This is your business. You should be able to enjoy it. Shouldn't be drudgery. Even though we all have days that are drudgery, I'm having one of those Mercuries and retrograde days myself. However, you've got to do what you like, and that means the things you don't like you need to outsource or eliminate, or uh, find a way to put them on a shelf. But you cannot do everything yourself, or you will be burnt, twisted, bent, and exhausted, for sure, for sure, for sure.
Leslie, is it fair to say, hey, if you are the chef and you've opened a restaurant, you probably shouldn't be doing the dishes or bussing the tables.
That is true.
But so many times we as business owners, and I hear this from a marketing standpoint, they try to do it themselves, and they're also doing the scheduling for their staff, and they're also doing, customer service, and also they're doing all these things, and all of a sudden, they're working more than 8 hours a day. So my question to you is, if somebody's out there listening and they're working more than 8 hours a day, is that a clue that they're trying to do it all and they really shouldn't be, or they can't do it all themselves?
It's one of two clues. One of them is that they're really wearing too many hats and not taking advantage of expertise of other people. The other one could be that they are. Oh crap! Now I forgot what I was going to say.
So second piece, come on.
No, no. Hang on a minute. We were talking about what? Tell me what we were talking about.
Well,
They're trying to do everything themselves.
yep, yep.
Um, some of it goes back to ego in a way that people say, well, they can't do it as good as me. Right.
Mhm.
And that brings on the whole, if you document your processes, then you don't have that problem. You
Yeah.
can't grow if you don't have data, and you can't have data if you don't track it. And so um, you've got to find a way to, I know what I was going to say is you can automate things. A lot of people are reluctant to try to automate. They're either intimidated because they don't understand how it works and how much time it will save them, or they just don't understand the process. So that's where it comes in, where you can, a business assessment can really help somebody, like my 5-day challenge for 5 days of freedom challenge, where we do a business assessment and determine where your opportunities are, right? Every business has low hanging fruit. They all have opportunities for improvement. Oh, I know where I was going with that. I was going with the non-billable time and the recurring stuff that you should not be doing. Too many people get stuck in this rut of doing processes, unnecessary ones, either because they could be automated or because they're just not necessary, or they're doing it the hard way. I mean, why are you doing stuff the hard way? Life's too short. Let's do it the easy way. There are lots of easy ways to do things. Most people just don't realize what those are. And that's why it takes an extra set of eyes, somebody who can see what's happening that doesn't have any skin in the game, right? When I help a company, I don't have any skin in the game. I'm here specifically to help you be a better company, right? And so it doesn't matter to me if you succeed or fail, although I do care. I don't mean to say I don't care, but I still have my businesses, they're still going to run. They're still going to be profitable. I used to tell people when I was consulting in aerospace, I'm telling you what's going to happen. If you make this decision or you make this decision, you have the choice of which way you go, but you're paying me for my professional opinion. And if you don't follow it, then this is what's going to happen.
Yeah.
And that's the truth. That's the truth with all mentors, coaches, consultants. Hopefully you've hired somebody with experience who understands your business and your problems. And if you don't listen to them, then you're losing a great opportunity in front of you. So that's one of the problems with people don't want to give it up. They got this ego. It's like, I'm only the one can do it right. Well, that's not true. It's definitely not true.
Is it, let's roll this back here, and let's say somebody's watching this or they're listening to this and they're thinking, hey, I'm looking at opening a business. Can you design these, I'm going to call them handing the baton off points in their business as they grow, to say, hey, I should now hire a virtual assistant or an assistant, depending on your business, whether it's real, brick and mortar or not.
Mm-hmm.
And I should hire an accountant or a bookkeeper, and then an accountant, and then an attorney, or whatever. Do you think there are some checkpoints that they can look at as saying, hey, these are points where I should now be thinking, I can't do it all. I don't have to do the taxes every year, right?
Right.
Or the
right.
quarterlies.
Right. And the way you determine that is through the time study that we talked about in the last episode, right? Doing a time study for how you spend your day and doing an evaluation of what your best skills are.
Okay. So I often say this, Leslie, hey, I'm just a kid from West Texas. This time study is like, what is this? It's like time travel. Break it down. What the heck are we talking about here?
I like it.
Give it in our basic understanding.
Basically, it's tracking every little thing you do throughout the day, or ideally the week, because you need a better picture than just a day, although you can get a good grip on what's happening in just a day. We'll have days where we're more productive than other days. So doing a week gives you a better average of what a true busy week looks like. So you track that first and you say, okay, where am I spending my time? I feel overwhelmed. I'm frustrated. How am I spending my time? It turns out you're spending, 10 hours a week on Pinterest or Facebook or social media of some sort, just FOMO.
I would have to document that too. I mean, maybe I was doing that while I was in the bathroom.
Yes, you need to document everything. Okay. You could document it as a potty break if you want to.
Okay, there we go. It's today's phone booth. You know that, right?
I do know that. Yeah, but nobody turns into Superman in there. I can tell you that. See how old I am?
I took us down a bad path. Sorry.
I even know Superman used to change in a phone. I don't know where he changes today because there are no phone booths. But anyway, so that time study is really a good tool to determine, because a lot of people don't realize how much time they waste. When you own your own business, and especially if you're home based, it takes a special discipline to be able to run a successful home-based business, because there's so many interruptions, right? If you've got kids coming in and wanting lunch, they don't need to eat every day, do they? So they want lunch, and then laundry has to get done. And then if you're like me and you're a news addict and you've got the news on all day long, and there's just all these distractions, and the phone's ringing, and you get 1,000 emails a day, and there's just all this stuff. And so you don't always know where your time goes. All of a sudden, like for me, I try to work from 6 to 2. That's my goal every day. And I try to save Mondays and Fridays for discretionary time. So any meetings I have, in-person meetings I have to schedule, any networking I'm doing, any marketing I'm doing, I try to do Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursdays. So those are my heavy days. Even still, 6 to 2 is my goal, because by 2 o'clock, I'm a little bit burned out and I kind of need a break. And so do I meet that every day? No. But by doing time studies, you can figure out why you can't meet that and what you can do in order to meet it. I mean, it's good to set boundaries, I guess is what I'm trying to say, is to set some boundaries around your business so that you can be productive every day. Right. And then you asked me a second question. It was about, tell me what you asked me again. Sorry.
Well, I was just asking you, hey, to break it down, what does that look like?
The time study. Yeah. You need that. And then you need to figure out also, which a good coach or a consultant can help you with, is what are you good at? And what do you enjoy doing? Like, me, right? I love to do coaching for people in small businesses. That's why we started the Freedom Challenge, because it gives me great joy to talk to people and help them make their businesses better. It is my heart. I really, really love doing that. And I actually came full circle from Executive Errands, where I started the service-based business, into consulting and concierge business solutions, because that's what I did when I worked in aerospace, right? I was consulting, helping them with software, helping them with process engineering, helping them with time studies, doing all of this stuff for them so that they could be a more profitable business. So now I get to come full circle and do it again. And I had forgotten how much I love doing that, right? I mean, you saw me. I called you up after my first 5-day challenge and said, oh my God, I'm having so much fun, because I love doing it. But you also have to know what somebody's good at, right? If you're terrible at marketing, you need to get somebody to do it for you. If you don't understand finances at all, you can't read a balance sheet, you don't know what a P&L is, then you need to get somebody to help you that does know, because they're critical to the profitability of your business, right? If you don't keep track of how much money you're making, how do you know if you're making any money?
I mean, the data tells you everything, right?
If you don't track it, it doesn't. I mean, data equals money. Okay. Data in today's world is everything. And if you don't manage your data and you don't track your data, you soon fail. Either you'll have unhappy clients because you have no transparency and you can't justify what you've done. Or if you're in retail and you don't have good records of what you've sold, then you can run out of inventory and then you can't support clients when they come in. Or if you're in manufacturing and you haven't, you're not working well with the other departments and making sure everything is coordinated so that things get built on time and shipped on time, that could be another disaster. So you have to know what you're good at and how you can, so that you can pick the things that you like. When you own your own business, you should be doing things that you truly enjoy and love doing. My daughter, I've told you this before, she used to make cupcakes for people. And she loves to make cupcakes, but it became absolute drudgery for her because she had to figure out what to charge for them, and then the different packaging, and then people were demanding of her time, and she didn't like dealing with people in that concept. She just wanted to make cupcakes, right? So she really needed a person to manage the business piece of cupcakes and let her do the creative piece of cupcakes, right? And there's nothing wrong with that. That's the whole point of owning a business, is to leverage your strengths and overcome any weaknesses you have. That's why we do SWOT analysis. Are you familiar with SWOT analysis?
Absolutely. Yep.
Yeah. So for those of you who are watching who don't know what SWOT means, it's an acronym. S stands for strengths, W is weaknesses, O is opportunities, and T is threats. So when you do a SWOT analysis for your business, what you're doing is, what are my strengths? Where are my weaknesses? How can I overcome how can I leverage my strengths? How can I overcome weaknesses? What opportunities are there for me? And what's a threat to my business? A competitor could be a threat. A nosy neighbor could be a threat. I mean, there's just, maybe you've got a problem with your rent control in the storefront that you've rented. There's just all these different things, and you have to look at them one-on-one by company and by business owner to figure this stuff out. There is no one size fits all for everybody.
Well, if you just joined us, you have stumbled upon the 10 things small business owners learn the hard way. This is part 2, and this is opening up. You can't do it all. The next one is systems save sanity.
Yeah, no kidding it. So, so just FYI, winging it is not a growth strategy, just so you know. It's not, right? You have to have systems in place, pre-thought out, find systems, whether that is automation, whether that is procedures, whether that is a hiring strategy, whether that is a marketing strategy. You have to have systems in place, right? And all too many people think, well, I don't understand that stuff, so I'm just going to wing it. I'm just going to do what I do and tell people about my business, and work will come in and all will be well. And no, not in this day and age.
Mm-mm.
Years and years and years ago, I attended a conference on the lifestyle management industry, and one of the girls there, I think she was from Canada, not that that matters, I just happen to remember that, told me that she gets sued every week because her data is so bad.
Oh, God.
And I was like, this must have been way back in the beginning, because I started the software for Executive Errands like in 2007, and I started my business in 2006. So that might have been what spurred me to do that. It might have been that long ago. This day and age, it's now no longer an order winner to have systems. It is an order qualifier. People don't even want to talk to you if you do not have automation, if you do not have management by exception, if you do not have systems in place, policies, procedures, software, applications, whatever, to run your business so that you have the transparency that clients need in order to trust you, right? Because what happens when you have those things, right? You can control your quality, and you can scale for growth. Without them, you're literally winging it. You can't do it because there's no consistency.
Well, I remember, we've known each other for a long time. I remember a few years back where you were having some staffing changes. And one of the things you mentioned is, because you have the systems in place and you have policy and procedures, that your customers didn't know that it wasn't Jeff coming out. They just know that the quality of the work was at the same level that it's always been. And that was based on the fact that you had the systems in place from day one, and it made everything great. Now, I've lost Leslie. She's just a dark or a white screen, so I'm not sure she's coming back. But the bottom line is, systems will save your sanity, because if you don't have systems in place, then everything is a 911. Imagine that. It becomes a 911, because what happens is when somebody says, well, can you do this? Or where's this document? Or, what's the process behind this? It's all 911. If you find yourself in the situation where you're noticing that something small is turned into a disaster or a 911 call, that's a clue. Take action and start saying, how can I make that a system? I'll give you an example. When we first started our business, what would happen is people would say, well, we manage like their social media accounts. So what would happen is someone would say, well, how do I add you as an admin on my Facebook page? And I would say, okay, this is how we do it. Well, then I realized, wait a second. If they're asking, I should systematize it. So what I did is I created a video that I could send to my clients to add them, to do those processes, whether it was Facebook, YouTube, whatever it was at the time. Then I noticed also that now when I would bring staff aboard, I hire people from all over the world. So English is not always everyone's first language. So what I would do is I'd make videos to explain the systems. And just like it says here, it saved my sanity, because now if I hired somebody that said, hey, your job is to, let's say, edit the videos. I would send them a video and it would walk them through what my expectations were as far as branding, positioning logos, putting captions on there, color, branding, all that. It would have that in there. And I didn't have to repeat myself over and over and over a time. I just had to say, I've hired this person. Here's the training module. Away you go. That's how important systems are. So let's move on to the next one. The next one is, let me get my cursor working here. The next one is, and this is the one that is, I think, sometimes hard to digest. And this is, it takes longer than you think. And what I mean by that is, I gave an example to somebody the other day. We were talking, they said, well, how long does it, like my company, we do content marketing. We also do AI automation and consulting. And they said, well, how long does content marketing, how long do you have to do before you start seeing the results? And I said, well, it depends. I said, if your company, we come into your company and you have no content on your website, you have no digital presence. I said, it can take a while because you have nothing built up, right? And so we have to build up the content. We have to build up the momentum. But if you're already a company who has been really good about posting and creating content and doing videos, and we come in, we can accelerate that process because generally then it's just a matter of, hey, it's not optimized. It's not being seen. The title needs to be changed. We need to fix the keywords in there, or maybe we change a thumbnail in videos, whatnot. So we optimize that. But it could take, on average, somewhere between 3 to 9 months. And that's just that consistent thing. And so I said, holy cow, 9 months. I said, well, let me ask you a question. I said, if you put a citrus tree in your yard, just a small sapling citrus tree in your yard, how long before it bears fruit? And like, I hadn't thought about that. And I said, but during that time, I said, would you water it? Of course they would. Would you put fertilizer on it? Yeah. Would you prune it? Of course I would. In other words, there's maintenance along the way, but you wouldn't look out there and say, okay, I planted it yesterday. I come back a week from now, and you know what? It has no fruit on it. I'm just going to tear it out. I'm going to go get another fruit tree. You'd never do that. But we see that happen often when we think about our business as like, well, I should be a success in 6 months. And why shouldn't we? We see it all over the place. We have this pressure online of saying, hey, you know what? It should only take you 6 minutes a day to get these abs that I have. And you know what? I made $1 million in the first 30 days of my business. And so it's easy to get caught up in this, well, this is normal. There's a saying is, yes, it took me, for me to be an overnight success, it took me 10 years. And what happens is nobody wants to read about that story that it took me 10 years. Leslie and I, when we talk about our businesses, mine's been going for 15 years, hers for 20. We were not overnight successes. We made some mistakes. We had to build everything we talk about here about, putting the systems in place, delegating, not doing all the work ourselves. We had to go through all that stuff, understanding cash flow. We had to understand all this stuff. It wasn't all at once. So I want to make something really clear. Just because you watch this program today, or you've watched a couple of these and you're not super successful right now, don't beat yourself up. Give yourself some runway. I would say, most businesses, before you really hit your good stride, if you look at the average business out there, it might be in that runway of 6 to 10 years where you feel like, I finally made it. The reason for that is it's like when you build a wall and you're starting and you put one brick down, you don't have a wall yet. You have a brick in a wall. And that's the same thing. If you say, well, I've opened up my business and I've added customer service. That's one brick in your business. Give itself a chance to happen. So it can take a while. Give yourself time. And, as you're doing this, take the time to also pat yourself on the back. I bet you're doing some incredible things in your business. And you know what? No one knows this. Give yourself a little pat on the back and say, wow, I think every day at the end of the day, take some time to appreciate yourself. Hey, what were my accomplishments today? Don't just beat yourself up on, oh, man, I didn't get all my stuff on my to-do list done today. No, you know what? I handled 3 calls that I wasn't expecting, and they were emergencies for my client, but we were able to handle it. And you know what? They were very happy. That's a huge win. Those are huge wins. Give yourself that credit on it. Or maybe you've added a new client, or maybe you've added a new client, and it's maybe your biggest client. Give yourself some credit because it might have taken 3-4 months to land that client. Give yourself some credit. It takes longer than you think. The next one is, and this is the last one, is time is your most valuable asset. Here's a thing that a lot of people don't realize is time is finite. I used to be in the golf business, and in the golf business, tee times are every 8 minutes. And so every 8 minutes, a group of 4 would go out. Well, if we had an open tee time, I would tell my staff, I said, that's like a crate of tomatoes just spoiled. And I said, I would rather put somebody in there at half price than no one in at zero price. And so that was the mindset. So we started looking for those opportunities. Time is your most valuable asset. You'll never get it back. When that, in this case, an example, when that tee time went out, I'm never going to get it back. I will never get a chance to get it back.
Yeah.
The same thing with our days. We don't have a chance to get that time back. Go ahead. Speaking of back, Leslie is back. Leslie, are you back? Maybe she's not back. She thought she was back. All right. So we're talking about time is your most valuable asset. And so, what you want to do is you want to spend your time doing the things that have the highest return on your invested time, on your asset, your body, your time. So what is your ROI? In other words, if I spend an hour, and we talked about this earlier before we lost Leslie, is if I spend time working on something that has a very low ROI, and it took me an hour, I'm never going to get that hour back. It's gone. But if I delegated that to someone on my team. I'll give you a perfect example. Yesterday, I was building out a landing page and a sales page for something I'm working on. And what I did is I did the architectural design of it, if you will. And instead of me working on it, I turned it over to one of the people on my staff who they did it in about 45 minutes to an hour. It would have taken me several hours. Not that I'm bad at it, but that's not my expertise. Well, in those same several hours, I created another video. I wrote another article. I helped bring on board another client. Well, that was so much better because my ROI was much better, and I still got that job done. Have we gotten Leslie back yet? I still can't hear her. Yep, I don't hear her. She looks good, but I can't hear her. This is actually, if you're thinking about getting married, this is the best situation. She looks good, but I don't hear anything she's saying.
Can you hear me, Jeff?
Oh, no, she appeared. Okay. Oh, good. Leslie, you're back. We're talking about our final, which is time is your most valuable asset. I just said, it's finite. And so use it wisely. Are you doing something that, spending time that you're doing things you're good at?
Hey,
and
I want to hear me?
Yes.
Can you hear me? I can't hear you.
And I can hear you too. And so one of the things you want to do is we start our business probably because there was something we love to do.
I'll have to become a lip reader. I can't hear you.
Well, Leslie is she's like that heckler in a crowd. If I'm a comedian, she's heckling me because she doesn't know I can hear her. And so she just needs to probably change her. Leslie, are you there? I can hear you. I'm going to take her off because that's more of a nuisance than anything. So anyway, so this is the second half. This is part 2 of what we talked about. The 10 small things small business owners learn the hard way. And usually it's trial and error. And I'm one of those people that said, hey, it's okay to learn from trial and error. It's not a bad thing. In fact, when I was doing a lot of teaching in the golf industry, I said, you come to me and I will show you what to do properly. I'll give you the drill. But the learning really comes from you actually doing it and examining every shot and tweaking it and examining every shot. It comes in the doing. It's not in the knowing. It's in the doing. So these are 10 small business owners, things that you learn the hard way, and most of them done by doing, but we don't realize that there are avenues for it. I want to leave you with this. I want to leave you this thought. If you are troubled with an area or you're thinking, hey, should I be doing this myself? This is not something I love to do. I would tempt you to go to YouTube University and use YouTube as your resource to say, hey, this is the problem I have. How can I solve it? I can almost 100% guarantee you without any doubt in my mind that if you went to YouTube and you said, hey, I'm having trouble doing X, and you went through his videos, you would find that there's somebody out there that is either A, gone through it and they're teaching you how they got through it, or they have an answer or a system or a product that you can put in place to help overcome that issue. So Leslie is not going to be back today. It looks like she's had some technical problems. Oh, wait a second. She's just popped onto my board again. Let's see if she's here. Let's see if she's here. Leslie, can you hear me?
Yes. How could you have gotten all the way to the end without me? I don't understand.
Well, part of it is, when there's only one person talking and it goes rather quick. So we've wrapped things up and we were just but I'm glad you're here. We don't want to rehash this. So I just want to say, I'm sorry. we had some technical issues, and you know what? There's a saying, Leslie, the show must go on.
Oh, is that what they say?
Yeah. And so that's what we did. The show went on. Everybody's happy. I got a standing ovation. They were sad. They were sad that you weren't there.
Yeah. My system crashed.
Yeah. So, hey, that happens. And that's why we're in two different locations. And so Leslie, hey, as always,
good things to say.
Okay. Yeah. As always, this is a fun time. And, this is Twisted, Bent, and Exhausted Entrepreneur Podcast. She was having some twisted, bent, and exhausted moments because of her of her system over there. So apologize. But hey, thank you for joining us. This was did we say this is episode 30?
Yeah.
Episode 30. That's exciting. So that means we've been doing this for 30 weeks. That's consistency. Are you doing something that consistent in your business? If not, look for that consistency. Leslie, any last thoughts? I'll let you give us I
don't have any idea what you said, so now I don't know. I can't. I couldn't believe you got through the next 3 like in 5 minutes, but okay.
Well, the systems save sanity. That was easy to talk about. I gave some good examples. It takes longer than you think. It actually didn't take as long as I thought to explain that.
Do you know how many years it usually takes to become an overnight success?
I told them it's between 6 and 10 years.
No, that's true. Yeah. Seven is what I would have said.
Yeah. And that's why I say,
now.
Overnight success. It took me 10 years to become an overnight success. We see it all the time. So
I became a success and didn't even know I was a success. Blah, blah, blah.
Here's a cool thing. And I think I shared this with you a long time ago when we were talking about doing this. And I said, most people who do podcasts quit before their 7th episode because they didn't see a response by then. And it typically takes somewhere between 35 and 50 episodes for the world to even know you're doing podcasts.
Really? That many?
Yeah.
So you need to market better.
So we're nearing that tipping point where all of a sudden something happened. I mean, and I'm sorry, we're extending this. I saw this with a client who we saw their numbers grow on how many clicks are coming to the website. And when we kept doing our work, kept marketing, but then we start seeing the numbers go up. And all of a sudden it made this massive jump from like hundreds to thousands. And that happened in less than 30 days, but it took 6 months to get to that point. Well, that's the same thing with these, 30 episodes, if you will. It takes a while first of all, you're proving to the universe that you really are worth spending any time with us, right?
Well, we're both worth that. I mean, that's
Absolutely.
why we're doing this. I mean, we want to make a difference for people. And we have a lot of content that's free. I mean, you go to your YouTube channels, you go to my YouTube channels, you'll see me all different hairdos and different sizes. I did the Oprah thing, where you can't tell what I'm going to look like from one year to the next. But as I get older, I get better. That's all I can say.
Well, I remember we should do a show called X's and O's. That's on your channel too.
That used to be a long time ago, huh? That's like, gosh, how long was 6 plus? That was more than 6 years ago.
Yeah, I think at that point, I think Amy was still with us. So that's, it's been over 5 years. She's been gone for 5 years. So yeah. That's all right. Amazing. Well, we're just now having a reminiscent, and we probably want to drag this through. So Leslie, thanks for joining us. I'm sorry that you had some technical problems. Thanks for joining us on the Twisted, Bent, and Exhausted podcast. And we'll see you in episode 31. Have a nice afternoon.
Bye, guys.